Hello my beautiful fragrance family, Dustin here, fragrance fan. Go ahead and give me a solid and click that like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell notification, and I'm just going to keep on giving you guys these budget-friendly fragrance reviews, that $40-ish and $100 range. Most of these are way less than that, and a good number of these you can pick up at your local rack stores. And as you can tell, if you watched my channel before, that I am doing the landscape thing, and I've been doing the vertical. It's been driving me nuts. Studio isn't set up for the horizontal, but we're just going to start doing it until the studio is right, because it's been driving me crazy. And at the end of this, I'm going to do a little interlude, and then I'm going to kind of give my testimony, a little bit of a story of who I am, where I came from, and it might offer some hope to some people that are broken and stuff like that. So if you care to watch that, then go ahead and stay tuned to the end. If not, we're just going to do the normal review. Well, not really normal, but a fragrance review, and let's get on with it. So I decided to put together 5 fragrances for under $100. That's going to be versatile and work year-round, no matter what. There's one for every occasion. And none of these are clones. They are standalone fragrances. Some might smell like something a little more than another, but none of these are straight up clones of anything. So let's go ahead and kickstart things off with, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so forgive me. Just for argument's sake, let's call it Faconable Riviera. It's French, so it is not pronounced like that at all. It's like Versitile or something like that. But Riviera. So you can find this for $20 at the rack stores every now and then. And this thing is surprisingly good. It is a blue fragrance through and through. It's kind of like, in a little bit of a way, like a peppery version of Dylan Blue. Atomizer on this is vertical. It's been driving me nuts. Studio isn't set up for the horizontal, but we're just going to start doing it until the studio is right, because it's been driving me crazy. And at the end of this, I'm going to do a little interlude, and then I'm going to kind of give my testimony, a little bit of a story of who I am, where I came from, and it might offer some hope to some people that are broken and stuff like that. So if you care to watch that, then go ahead and stay tuned to the end. If not, we're just going to do the normal review. Well, not really normal, but a fragrance review, and let's get on with it. So I decided to put together 5 fragrances for under $100. That's going to be versatile and work year-round, no matter what. There's one for every occasion. And none of these are clones. They are standalone fragrances. Some might smell like something a little more than another, but none of these are straight up clones of anything. So let's go ahead and kickstart things off with, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, so forgive me. Just for argument's sake, let's call it Faconable Riviera. It's French, so it is not pronounced like that at all. It's like Versitile or something like that. But Riviera. So you can find this for $20 at the rack stores every now and then. And this thing is surprisingly good. It is a blue fragrance through and through. It's kind of like, in a little bit of a way, like a peppery version of Dylan Blue. The atomizer on this is really nice. Nice fine mist. Lid clicks into place really well. Basically, this is a citrus, amber, woody, smoky, peppery fragrance. It's like, I personally almost pick up like on some black pepper, like it really stands out, gives it a little bit of a pop more than anything else. You definitely get your citruses and stuff like that, but there's like that spicy pepper thing that really sets this apart from a lot of the other fragrances that are in this category. All those other fragrances, like Dylan Blue, is like the cheapest of all those blue fragrances at, like, for a tester, maybe $36. And then you jump way up to like Dior Sauvage and Bleu de Chanel, which are no less than $100, while this one is $20. And it'll fit right there in that little box of those fragrances easily. So longevity on this is like 6.5 hours. Good performer. Projection has the potential to be quite loud if you overspray on this thing. Beware of that. This thing can and will produce too much if you overspray on it. So go easy on the sprays, see where it works with you, and go on from there. You don't want to just hammer away with this thing, because you will choke people out because of that peppery, spicy thing that's going on in there. It does have the potential to be cloying. So nice fragrance, versatile, works basically anytime, anywhere. It's not so dressy, but you could dress it up. It's not going to be good enough to really cut through the coldest, but basically year round, this thing will do it. And if you wear it at the gym, I would just do like 1 squirt, to be honest with you. Next up, let's go ahead and do Summertime in a Bottle. And this is Tommy Bahama St. Bart's. Basically, ooh, I just about lost it there. So basically, you hear a lot of people say that this thing is like a salty tequila. It really is. I tell people that this is like the pool deck on a cruise ship, whereas St. Kitts is like the dinner party on a cruise ship. This guy right here is just a saltwater, citrus, tropical drink. It is what you want to wear underneath a coconut palm, just lounge back, just looking at the water. That is what this thing is. It is salty. If you could smell salt, I mean, this thing has it going on. Just such an awesome, fresh, crisp, citrusy, tropical, salty fragrance. Eau de cologne, so the performance isn't all that good, but it isn't as bad as you would think it is for being so fresh, so light and crisp. And the eau de cologne concentration, you'll still get 3.5 hours or 4 hours, which is just fine, because this thing is awesome for the gym too, because it's not going to offend anybody and it's light enough. And if you dial up the sprays enough, you'll get average performance on this thing. Next up, let's do one that's going to work really good for the cooler days. And I'm talking about another $20 fragrance. These last two were $20 at any rack store, and this one is religiously at rack stores pretty much. And that's CK1 Shock. This, again, not just saying it because other people say it, they say that this is like a beginner's version of a tobacco fragrance, and I totally agree. Also, Burberry London is another fragrance that would work well for a beginner to just kind of dip their toes in the tobacco world, but Burberry London's tobacco is really reserved, where this one is a little bit louder. You can smell it a little bit more, but really what you get in this up top is a nice, juicy, sweet dose of some mandarin or some tangerine. There's like one of the orange citruses up top. A good juicy dose of that. Amber. There's some of that powdery lavender in this thing. Man, this thing smells so good. Wet tobacco with like a vanilla amber thing going on. A little bit of cardamom. So you get that fresh green or fresh orange tangerine or mandarin or something like that. It's one of the orange citruses. Sweet amber, vanilla, powdery lavender, tobacco, and some cardamom. This thing is great for the cool weather. It's not geared for the hot heat whatsoever. It's a cool weather, nighttime fragrance. Almost guaranteed to pull in some compliments. 7+ hours on my skin. It's no kind of beast, but it is a solid performer. And $20 all day long at the rack stores. Next up, we're going to go ahead and go with a summertime fragrance that just works no matter what in the summer. Casual, going out to a lunch thing with a company or something, or at the gym or anything. And I'm talking about English Laundry's Tahitian Waters. I found mine for $12.99 at TJ Maxx. Fingerprints all over this thing. This is not a Virgin Island water clone. It's Tahitian Waters. It's not the same thing as Virgin Island waters. They're not even that similar. They're both just tropical fragrances. Usually English Laundry kind of clones things or is heavily inspired by things, but not so much this one. It's not that similar to that. Gotta be careful with the lid because this wants to come out. The atomizer on all these is meh. But this one is a very fresh, creamy, sweet, citrusy, coconut, tropical fragrance. This thing is very tropical, creamy, semi-sweet with some of that citrus in there. There's also some white florals, like there's some jasmine. There's even ylang ylang in here. But mainly this is a tropical, smooth, creamy fragrance with a bit of sweetness from that brown sugar that's going on in this thing. Wonderful smelling fragrance, totally different than most of your freshies. That's why I want to put this one in there, because it's versatile and it doesn't smell like a Zaro Sport or like a Zaro Chrome or a Zaro Chrome Sport or something like that. This one is totally different from those, and the performance on my skin is actually quite surprising. I'll get 6 to 7 hours out of this thing. I don't know why. I usually don't get good performance on a lot of fragrances, but this particular one doesn't disappoint whatsoever. And last and certainly not least, and the most money out of all these, you can find it for $25 on like Fragrance Net. I think Fragrance Net's $25.32. Kingdom Fragrances is like $25. And these are for testers. I don't know about shipping. I can't tell you about that. But I'm talking about Rojas L'Homme. So this one will get compared to like Dolce & Gabbana's K, and I think that's just because there's nothing else people can compare it to, because it doesn't really smell that much like it. It does share some similarities, but other than that, this thing really doesn't smell all that much like Dolce & Gabbana's K to me. Not the Eau de Parfum, not the Eau de Toilette. But what this thing is, first of all, nice heavy lids, plastic, but it's nice and heavy. Atomizer is pretty good on this thing. And it opens up with an awesome, nice, easy blood orange note, a little bit of that juniper, some geranium, and tonka bean. There's also cardamom in here. The cardamom adding it a little bit of fresh spiciness. The geranium just kind of ironing things out, some of the harsh edges that can be in blood orange and juniper. Those two notes right there can be off-putting and dangerous if used incorrectly, but in this one, it's just enough. They are just enough to give it a nice, sharp character about it. I'm not editing that dog out because he just will not stop. I've tried and I give up. So you're gonna hear a dog. Performance on this is not a slouch at all. It's not a beast either, but you will get 6.5 or 7 hours out of this thing every time. This is a 3-season fragrance. In Florida, it's a 4-season fragrance. It's just not gonna cut through the coldest of cold, and it's classy enough to be dressed up, and it is also not so serious that you couldn't just wear this whenever. However, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is going to be good for the gym though, because it's got so much character, it's thick enough, it's rich enough, it's got some dustiness, some powdery and creaminess going on in there. It's just not quite fresh enough, but this will work in fairly high heat outside. It's just a do-it-all kind of fragrance. It's an easy dumb reach. I mean, look at the juice level on this thing. You can see how much I like this thing, and I can't say anything bad about this. It's $25.62 on Fragrance Nets, at $25 on Kingdom Fragrances. I think, don't know about shipping, so crucify me there, but for that price point, this thing is so well worth it. I think I paid like 30 bucks for it, and I'm so glad I picked this thing up. If you haven't smelled it, go ahead and try to smell this thing somehow. I haven't met a person that doesn't like it, and I've showed this thing to some pretty picky people. It is an awesome smelling fragrance. So that is my collection. If you guys want to stick around and listen to a little bit of my story, then do so. And if not, until next time, right? With that, I'm out. Y'all be blessed. Take care of yourself always. Until next time. So for those of you guys who decided to stick around, thank you guys so much. If there's background noise and stuff like that, I'm not editing it out because this has just been crazy. So let's just get right into it, right? I was a good kid growing up, perfect attendance student, 4th grade to 12th grade, Eagle Scout, played drums for the church and everything like that. But my life started falling apart when I gave into drinking a little bit, joined the Army, drank a whole lot more. When I got medically discharged, I continued a path of destruction. I was drinking like crazy, then I went to doing cocaine, then started doing the pills, graduated from the pills to shooting up the pills, and then they took the pills off the streets, and now I'm doing heroin and stuff like that. By this time I'm homeless, full-blown homeless for years, incarcerated for years of my life, street fighting, shooting up heroin, physically and chemically dependent on this stuff. I was an absolute wreck and a mess. I was a treacherous person. Now, I might lose some subscribers by saying this, and I don't mean to be offensive at all. I'm just telling my story. But I believe in Jesus Christ. You know, you guys see me wear shirts like this and stuff like that. I went to a program called Loving Hands Ministries. It's a 2-year-long minimum program. I was there for 10 months actually fighting charges, and the state took me out of the program, locked me up again for a year, bed to bed, and then bed to bed back to the program, basically started over again. And there's like a no cell phones, no caffeine, no newspaper, no TV type of thing, calisthenics in the morning for 2 years straight, every second of the day accounted for type of a ministry program. And so what set me free wasn't myself, it wasn't my own strong will or anything like that. I'd overdosed so many times, withdrawn. I mean, it was a mess. I was bad years, like 10 years of my life was like this. And it's because of God, right? I'm not going to say this story or anything like that for me or for my glorification. I just want to give honor to Him and hopefully sow seeds of hope to others who are struggling with any kind of addiction or it has affected your household of any kind. It's never too late. It is never ever too late. January 5th will be 6 years for me. It's November right now. January 5th of 2024 is going to be my 6-year clean mark of not having a cigarette, a beer, or anything. I'm not going to give in to none of that stuff. Since I'm a Christian, the reason why I'm not afraid to say Jesus, because Matthew 10:33, since I believe it 100%, it says, if you deny me before man, I will deny you before the Father. So if that's taken seriously and literally, it's a scary verse. And Romans 1:16 says, I'm not ashamed of the gospel, right? Why should I be? Because it saved my life. So that is just a piece of my story so you guys know who I am, where I've come from. I was at the lowest of the low, and I'm here to tell you that it's never too late. It is just not ever too late. Not for the thief on the cross, not for me, not for anybody, right? And everybody has value no matter what. If somebody's addicted to something, it's not that person. They are possessed by a demon or just themselves doing that drug. So it's a totally different person that's behind those drugs. But anyhow, that's where I came from. I was sleeping in the tall grass and abandoned buildings and everything. I wasn't a sidewalk sleeper. I couldn't do that, right? I had to be like more hidden off in the cut, bit up by mosquitoes and stuff. But I just felt kind of compelled to do that. So thank you guys for sticking around. There's going to be a whole lot more reviews to come. My studio is going to expand and be better slowly but surely. And thank you guys for making this channel possible, for supporting me and watching and subscribing. You guys are all amazing. I really appreciate all you guys, you know, Vance Neal and Santiago. I'm not going to try to name all the names. There's so many of you guys that comment a lot, and I appreciate you guys tremendously. You guys inspire me and encourage me, so thank you guys. A lot of you guys really know a lot about fragrances too. It's pretty awesome. So with that, I'm out. Y'all be blessed. Take care of yourself always, and until next time.